My cousin's husband, who is 10 years older than I am, keeps trying to make a move on me, but when I told my family, they all accused me of lying and trying to make an innocent man guilty. Posted by u/bright=2422. I, 23F, have lived with my cousin Rose and her husband Dumbo, both 33, for over a year for economic reasons. We have had a lot of issues, but I could handle them. 6 months ago, I began to realize that Dumbo was looking at me more. I've always made sure to wear appropriate clothing in front of him, and I've never even been without a bra outside of my room. Even so, I noticed that his eyes were constantly going to other places, like my chest, rear, or lower. I thought it was just my imagination, but just in case, I started wearing oversized hoodies and sweatpants around the house and nothing body-fitting. Still, I noticed that when we had conversations, he would deliberately stare at those places. One night, as I was lying on the couch laughing at a video on my phone, he came up to me, asked what I was laughing at, and before I could answer, he bent down and put his head on my chest at an angle so he could look at the phone screen. I was in shock, and I am ashamed that I just let it happen. That's when I knew I had to tell someone, especially my parents, but I didn't have the courage, so I stuck it out. More comments were made, but the one that disgusted me the most was when he said, "Hey, is it me, or has your Lululemons gotten bigger?" I asked why the F he was looking at me that way and told him he was so out of line, but he just laughed. I got the courage to tell my stepmom and dad, and they were both shocked. They said that I needed to move out ASAP and that I also needed to talk to Rose about Dumbo's behavior and confront Dumbo as well. It took a bit of pushing, but I finally got the nerve to sit down with Rose and tell her everything that had happened and that this was the reason I was moving. She said she would talk to him, but in the end, this was my problem with him, and I needed to fix it. I thought that after she spoke to him, he would come to me and apologize or at least say something, but that never happened. 2 days later, I told Rose that I was expecting an apology from him and that I was going to talk to him myself about everything. She said that would be useless because he claimed he was never going to talk to me again, as he insisted he did nothing wrong and that apologizing would mean owning up to what I claimed happened. She added that both of them were going to wait until my dad was back in town so he could resolve everything. Dumbo claimed that I was just trying to turn my family against him and ruin his reputation. I left to go to work after that, but in my mental state, I forgot something, and when I came back, I caught Rose talking to her mom about how they didn't believe anything I had said and that the three of them would tell my parents that I was trying to divide the family. With 3 people ganging up against me, I'm worried they will manage to change my parents' minds. I think I messed up by bringing this whole thing up. I may have ruined my relationship with everyone, possibly ruined a marriage, and in the end, I'm starting to even doubt my own judgment, wondering if it could have just been a misunderstanding. I feel like I made a mistake by not staying quiet. Update 11 days later. Well, I'd like to say thank you to everyone who took the time to comment on my last post. It's because of you that I finally saw that I was not messing up, even though now my relationship with basically my whole family is strained. Unfortunately, the result was not a pretty one. I spoke to my parents, and the whole conversation just felt off. To begin with, they don't understand why it took me so long to speak up. I tried explaining that, for me, this is a very sensitive topic, and on top of that, I was scared of how everyone would react. Second, it is well known that I usually have a very strong attitude and don't have an issue with telling people to back off or standing up for myself, which in their eyes makes it strange that I wasn't able to do that with Dumbo. Yes, I don't have a problem doing that to people who have no major impact on my life, and to be honest, even today I am asking myself why I didn't react that way with him. Although I wanted to, I just couldn't bring myself to do it. But I also know that if I had, Dumbo and Rose would have run off to my parents complaining about how disrespectful I was, and it would have been messy either way. Third, they say things don't add up because, in the end, I never took their advice, which was to remove myself from the situation and, secondly, to have a conversation with Rose and Dumbo. I have found a nice place to live as of December 1st, and I spoke to Rose because I honestly didn't want to, nor did I feel comfortable, speaking to her husband in the beginning. Like I said in the first post, when I told Rose I was going to speak to Dumbo, she said no because he wasn't going to listen, and she agreed that we had nothing to talk about. I explained this to my parents, but they weren't having it. They said that I need to face Dumbo, as he is the one causing the issue for me. I told them very clearly that I wasn't going to force him to sit down and listen to me, but according to them, that is exactly what I should be doing. My dad says that, at the end of the day, I don't know what Dumbo's intentions were, and this won't get solved until he and talk it out. He's angry that I've done nothing to solve this matter myself, and that even if I know Dumbo won't listen, that's not the point. The point is trying. I reminded him that Dumbo wasn't just looking, it was constant comments, staring, and putting his head on my chest. I told him once again that I wasn't going to force a grown man to listen to me. But he kept saying that I wasted their time by not taking their advice. Finally, my parents ended it by saying that because I haven't been transparent with them and it seems like I've basically wasted their time, then that is how they'd like to keep our relationship, with a wall up. I had prepared myself to take a step back from my parents if needed, but the fact that they did it because I wasted their time just hurts. I feel like they went into this conversation with the mindset of not believing me, and nothing I could have said would have changed that. Just the fact that they're telling me to force this man who's 10 years older than me to sit down and listen, knowing damn well that because I don't want to be alone with him, his wife would have to be there and she'd be jumping down my throat every 2 seconds, is like telling me to flip a hot pancake with no gloves and to try not to get burned, knowing damn well that I will. He never offered to be a moderator. I had a feeling this would be the result, so in a way, I do feel like I did mess up. In the end, Rose and Dumbo are perfectly happy, or so it seems. They both still have a great relationship with my parents, my relationship with all of them is messed up, and I'm feeling pretty depressed. Once I move out completely, I will be in a better mental state. I won't have any toxic people in my life, I'll be saving money since the new place is a lot cheaper, and most importantly, I know that I still have people who love and support me, even if it's very few. Once again, thank you to everyone who gave me words of support on my last post. It means so much. Second update 1 week later. I didn't expect to be updating again. I thought that everything had ended when my parents blocked me, but no. Since my last post, my parents still have me blocked, but only on social media. They have been calling me since, telling me that it's up to me to make this right. Basically, my entire family is mad at me for trying to destroy the family dynamics. Because I still haven't confronted Dumbo, they all think I am lying and blew what could have been a simple, awkward moment into a big deal so that I could have a proper reason to move out and be independent. According to them, unless I speak to Dumbo face to face, I will have proven their theory of simply lying to get out of the house without anyone questioning it. They have made it clear that they think I have messed up by bringing this to light, and if I choose not to confront Dumbo, they will proceed to have me blocked and label me a liar. Oh my god, the pressure I have been under to speak to this man has been making me sick at this point. Yes, I could simply block my parents on everything as well, but that wouldn't stop them from showing up at my house, and I'm too much of a coward to do so anyway. Even though I'm freaking out, I have decided to talk to Dumbo tonight once I get the courage to do so, just to get my parents off my back, because I can't handle another phone call from them accusing me of being a liar. Deep down, I know I didn't mess up by telling my family about Dumbo harassing me, but I swear to God that if I had known everything that would come out of this, I would have simply moved out and kept my mouth shut. Any advice is needed, and I deeply appreciate those who personally messaged to check up on me after my first post. Third update 1 day later. To begin, I'd like to thank all of those who have given me advice and shown support during this hard time. It's given me more strength than you know. I've been asked some questions, so I'll answer a few. 1. Why did I wait 6 months to bring this up? This is a very serious accusation to make. I wanted to be absolutely sure that I wasn't imagining anything and that I was certain of my experience. I was also terrified of how my family would react. 2. Why didn't I speak to Dumbo from the very beginning? I didn't have the courage and didn't know how he'd react, so I went to my parents for guidance. 3. Why didn't I bring this up until after I moved out? Simple, I thought my parents would have my back. Now to the update. After my last post, I spoke to Dumbo. Even though many advised me not to, I caved and confronted him. I recorded the entire conversation, as many suggested, and even made sure to send it to a few people just in case. Dumbo was quiet the whole time I spoke and apologized, although he still insists he did nothing wrong. His wife, my cousin, Rose, was laughing, snorting, and making side remarks the whole time. The urge to tell her to F off was strong, but I didn't want to make things worse for myself. The conclusion of our talk was this: they don't want to move on from this, but we will be civil. We will keep communication to a minimum until and after I move. He will make sure to never be alone around me. Lastly, our conversation was essentially pointless, and even if I had spoken to him in the first place, as everyone suggested, he says the result would have been the same, meaning we would all still be divided. I told my parents all of this morning, as they wanted to know how the talk went. Even though I explained that everything I shared was what Dumbo had said, they still accused me of trying to justify my reasons for not wanting to have the conversation with him. Essentially, they think I only caved to prove that I wasn't lying because, in the end, I never showed any signs of abuse or said anything. They made it clear that I have divided the whole family and that it will take time for them to heal from the pain and distress I have caused. They also said that in the future, my family may or may not reach out to me again. After all of this, my biggest mistake was how I went about things. I should have waited until I was in my new place and away from these people. At least that way, a lot of this could have been avoided. Many have pointed out that, at 23, I am old enough to deal with this on my own. To those who said that, thank you. I have learned that family will not always be there to back you up. Speaking up will never be a mistake, but the way you handle things certainly can be, as demonstrated here. If I had acted differently, I think the outcome might have been a bit better. In the end, I know I still have people who love and support me. My move-out date is just around the corner, and eventually, my mental health will improve. In the meantime, I will focus on packing and being around those I love. Thank you once again for all your support. This will be my final update.